Is Del Duca really worth for me to leave the house and vote?
Ford's winning, man. Well, I don't know why you guys are.
Oh, I think he's gonna win.
I don't know why people hate Ford. He hasn't done anything that's maybe hated. Like, what has he introduced as like, that was a
I
dumb
don't know,
thing?
man. You're pure PC these days, so I don't know.
No, but
You
what
even
has
got a
he
blue plug
done?
on today. Look, PC blue, just like Tim Uppel. Look like
Look,
Tim Uppel's
man.
brother.
Unless a politician gives me a reason to hate them, I really don't vote against. Like, my vote was liberal for the longest time, and then Kathleen win, and at that point, I was like, man, these guys are just doing too many
Hmm.
scandals. I have a reason to change.
I saw it on my hand after vote for my friend.
Who's your friend? Oh,
Oh, but yeah, that's your writing, so it's okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like out of my hand. So you're gonna
I,
hate the
I would
government.
vote.
I have to vote for him.
I
Yeah.
would vote for him too, but
I
not in my
voted,
writing.
and I had legit voted NDP last election because I didn't like the PC candidate. I liked the PC party. I didn't like the candidate. The candidate was super weird, and I'm like, man, this seems like the type of guy who's just really, really cringe, and he's gonna do some fucked up shit. I ain't voting for him, and so I voted for the NDP guy, Kevin Yarde, and then the NDP kicked the Kevin Yarde out
Yeah, the kids
just because
hold
he's
me out,
black.
yo.
He's black. They're like, yo, he's not raising any money. We got a Punjabi guy coming in. It's a Punjabi riding. Let's get the Punjabi in. And they try to play it all by the book. Like, hey, we have it's all democratic. We It's in our constitution that anyone can challenge, even the city. Like all parties have that. All sitting MPs can get challenged, but all parties are like they don't really push it. They're like, nah.
It was a legit money thing, though.
It was really just he doesn't raise money, and then
Yeah,
this he could bring us in money.
yeah.
Was he gonna win?
No. Or
Fair enough.
Yarde was he gonna win? No, probably not. Is it this he gonna win?
So
Nope.
It's a clusterfuck party,
yeah,
anyways. This is
fair enough.
Horvat's last kick at the can. And then what? Does Guratan take over then?
Oh, the party? I don't know.
That'd be jokes, eh? Like brothers.
One
To lead
leads
the
federal, one
party.
leads provincial. Yo, the
Yeah.
party would not be down. I swear to God, the party has Loki hates Jigmeet from my impression.
I mean, that's anybody's impression.
I feel like no, but just like watching like NDP Twitter, I see him get shit on so much, and then people are like, "We're leaving the party," this that, and then I know they kind of justify like, "Nah, fringe group." I'm like, "Nah, man, I've been seeing it way too much for it to be a fringe group." I feel like there's like when there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah, no, when the ex leader is throwing you under the bus, you're definitely hated. It's open season.
Just talking? Well, what's the show about? It's about nothing. It's about nothing.
Just want these guys to know you got another thing coming, bitch. I'm still around.
Yeah. Anyways, is that an intro topic?
Anyways,
Oh, no, we
Oh,
put
no.
together an outline.
I'm
that was
just
just
kidding.
us rambling. That was just
Let's
us
do an
rambling
introduction.
away.
Let's do an
Yo.
introduction.
Our
Ranjit's back.
Our rambling,
Ranj is back.
Our rambling is how we introduce all these smokes. You ever turn your head, see your webcam video of yourself, like, holy shit, that's what I typed today? That's a random bug.
Yes, we
All right.
we have that.
Yeah, we have that problem. Yeah.
I don't even know what to do now. I think I'm too invested in. I legit wrap
Raji,
this.
how was the surgery, my man?
Okay, I want to apologize to our listeners. I will never ever go on vacation again and leave you with these two fucks. Okay, they're so dumb. And yes, you need me. You did need a lawyer in that podcast. Okay, you guys are all over the place. What are you talking about? Let the legal opinions come here. Okay,
I do
talking
remember
about
there was
the
a time.
housing
I don't
market.
even remember what we were talking about.
No, but we did low key start talking about like, yo, legally is that allowed? I'm like, yeah, it sounds about right.
The lawyer in
I was
this.
dying inside. You guys
Yeah.
were wrong about it all. Okay,
What were we
your
wrong
answers were
about,
wrong.
man?
Okay, completely. Anyways,
I'm offended you called us stupid.
yeah. Well, you look stupid. You are stupid.
I'll take
You
that
talk
one.
stupid.
Look,
Okay,
man.
anyways, I on the point of the surgery though, I would get it. I would, but I'd probably do it in India, man, not Istanbul. But it's so funny. Like you see pictures, it's like a meme. Like there's be 10 dudes on every
10 dudes on
flight.
the airplane, on the flights,
Yeah, with the scarring
Just
and
bald
shit.
guys. Oh, like you noticed I'm coming back from India with the scar?
Hey man, medical tourism.
Oh. Istanbul, it's such a big thing For what they do is like it's a package of like you blow like 5-6 grand. They put you up in a 5-star hotel. They take you to your surgery. They do it.
Oh, you mean like
You go back
Istanbul is
and
actually
rest.
known for hair
Yes,
known
transplants?
for it.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
What?
And then you go back to your hotel. And if you need 2 surgeries, then the next day you take you back. You do it again.
Just
Then you
like,
rest and recuperate because you're scarring. Like there's a lot of blood loss, right? Or a lot of blood. So you'll be like sitting there with scabbing, and your pillow's gonna turn red. So you have to like lie down in a nice room for a while, right?
Jimmy, it's like you're having your period and shit for the first time.
Yes, but your head. I mean, it's surgery, fuck. Shinda, it's surgery. You're gonna bleed. They're poking little holes in you, right?
This reminds me of a very popular influencer's blog post from once upon a time.
Yes.
Yes, who's a very rich person now.
Somebody
Hey.
almost got canceled. But yeah,
I didn't realize Istanbul was known for that. I thought like
You know,
when
a
you
lot of
no, but I thought when you said Istanbul, I
medical
was like, I
tourism
don't
is
get.
huge, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't everyone goes to India for laser eye surgery? So
Do they?
lots
Yo,
of
I,
people do. Man.
I need a list of where people go for what. I swear to God, I don't know why you brought up Istanbul. I'm like, maybe he just thought Istanbul sounded funny.
the one you want to know about penile enhancements in Cuba.
Is it
Yes.
really though? I'm trying to figure
Really?
out whether you're making a joke or.
And I was like,
Well,
Cinda's
I'm
looking
being
at flights right now. So you were in Vancouver, man. How was that? How was Vancouver?
Yo, BC's it's a good place to visit. Be there for a little bit because if you're there longer than 10 days, you have to join a gang. So always short trips. Oh, especially if you're like a
well,
Desi guy, yeah.
Well,
Yo,
full disclosure,
man,
I've never been to BC, so I don't know.
Okay, so that's fucked up. You
Why
live
is
in
that?
Canada. You live in Canada. Like, how have you not been to? You must have
You guys are
relatives
mad-
there.
You got no relatives, and you guys are mad privileged.
You have no relatives in BC.
We're privileged. You went to the beach during COVID. You got out of the country, right, for a week. We're privileged.
Yeah, Mr. Dominican. Like, your tan's gone.
Yeah.
Now you're just dark because you're dark. It's not even a vacation dark.
Hey, that's colorism's not cool, man. That's not cool.
Whatever. I mean, I'm bright white right now. I'm fucking pace yourself.
You,
All I'm
light
saying,
skinners are always think you're
Oh.
better than everybody.
how have you not been to BC? Like, I just don't understand.
Well, I
You're-
got up to the. Well, I mean, like I got up to. I was with Ranjit. We got up to Golden, BC. That was about it.
Right.
So I've been in BC, just never to Vancouver.
Yeah,
That's
you never been
wild.
to the Lower Mainland. You got to go.
I have no reason to go. No family, no weddings, no.
I
It's-
swear.
Yeah.
It kind of blows my mind they have no family there. Just because I felt like everyone I've known my whole life's always had family in BC.
Actually, no. Sorry, I do have family through my wife's side. Correction. So I do have family through that side of the family. But
I
And
got-
if they're listening to the podcast, that's beef. Your Corona doesn't think you're family.
I mean, my wife's has a lot. My wife's Nanake are all BC. My Nanake are all BC. We go to BC. It's kind of like, holy smokes, who do we even bother? Like, how can we see everyone? Do we even
so
tell people we're
so-
there anymore?
what makes you come back to Toronto? Like, why not move out there? Like, what's your reason? Why everybody that I talk to, they go, we should have moved out to BC.
What?
I wish my parents had started in
I
BC.
always say that. I've been arguing
No.
that BC is so much better than Toronto. You can actually touch real grass there. There's
Ranji's
heights.
losing hair by you saying that.
He has nothing left to lose.
What a stupid thing to say. Touch real grass. That's why you want to move somewhere?
To be able to do stuff outside, yeah, like there's actual outdoor life. There's summer life.
And they,
The
You're
weather
living
there
a
is.
this is not a simulation where you live. You can go. It's real outside.
No, but it's not near as nice to do. There's not near as much to do outside here as there is there. Well, we
May
got
to
Mono
September.
Hills.
May to
Mo-
September. You do nothing outside.
You
You
can't
could
do
live
anything
on a
outside.
mountain and you'd still be in your basement playing Nintendo or doing something online.
Buddy, I've gone boarding in BC almost every winter, minus last year.
Okay, wait. Here's the thing. Is that because
Actually, that's
you're
not
on
true. It's
vacation?
been like 4
No,
years.
no. But is that
but-
is that
4
because you're
times.
is that because you're on vacation? So you're out. You're gonna do more things. But if you were living there, working Monday to Friday, how inclined would you be to live that outdoor lifestyle if you're not doing
100%.
that here?
I do that here though. I do go out for the hiking here. I do go boarding here. Like I go Blue Mountain.
You don't go hiking, bro. Chill. And
What are you talking about?
you're talking about
What are you
boarding.
talking
wait,
about?
you're talking about boarding. Hold on. You're talking about boarding. But for a second, you're talking about grass. What is it? You want the grass? You want the boarding?
I go hiking
Winter
here
sports?
too.
I
I
yeah.
would do summer sports there too.
So you want hills? That's what you're implying.
I want to be able to. Yeah, the mountains there are beautiful.
The
There's
mountains.
things you can do there that you can't do here. You can't even like what Randy goes to Blue Mountain. Like we don't need a fucking like Cypress is their local hill. I would be at Cypress almost every other weekend because I was going to friggin' Kelso Park every other weekend for a season here, and I'm like, why am I wasting my money here? I
Robbie.
almost feel like
I'm gonna paint a picture, okay? Steeles Avenue would be considered a highway there, okay? Yes, because their highways are 2-lane roads, 80
their
kilometers
traffic
an
is
hour.
bad.
Okay, their traffic, it takes half hour to travel 2 kilometers sometimes. It's ridiculous. They have bridges everywhere, and those are choke points because they have such bad drivers. Somebody always gets onto an accident near a bridge, and that's it. It's game over. Okay, your commuting life is completely unpredictable. Okay, that's one thing. Two, that city's expensive as fuck. If
So
you ever want
is that
to, my buddy's a
is that
doctor out there, and he's wondering how he's gonna crack the fucking market. Okay, like a real doctor, not yeah, like in a hospital.
like real
He has a
lawyers,
white
right?
coat. He has a white
Funny
coat.
thing is, we don't call him a real doctor either because he's a pathologist. But look, he works in a hospital, and he's
Hey
thinking
man, he's
how
a real
gonna-
doctor.
He's,
doctor.
but he doesn't see patients, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, he's wondering how he's gonna crack the market and where he would buy, because it's that ridiculous.
But are they being paid more out there or no? Like if you're
No.
a professional lawyer,
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
the same. I think Toronto salaries are actually higher than
Toronto salaries are much higher than Vancouver salaries, at least in my profession.
That's what I've seen too from programming side too.
Yeah.
So
So
Really?
you're living in an expensive place where you're priced out of buying like real assets that you need to for long term. Traffic sucks. You're gonna have to join a gang, and the homeless scene there is so bad. They've done such a bad job treating that. It is fucking crazy. Even today, I saw, or last couple of days, Canada Post won't deliver mail in certain sections in downtown Vancouver.
do you guys
And it's
remember
where the
Danny
homeless
Green
is
got
high.
robbed?
I
Danny
don't
Green,
remember
the
that.
former Raptor. So
In
after
Vancouver?
his championship season, he was doing a Canada-wide appreciation tour to like really get to know the country a little better. He was hosting basketball camps in the various cities. He Airbnb'd a house in Hastings. Hastings is like the drug central of Vancouver,
East
Yeah, okay,
Hastings. Yeah.
right? He's like, I don't know. He's like, I was listening to his justification after. He's like, whoever was handling it wasn't familiar with the areas. They found this bomb rental for really cheap, and he's like, Canada doesn't have any ghettos. How bad could it? Like, it didn't even cross his mind that it could be a bad area, because he's like, it's Canada. Danny Green's laptop, their car got broken into and stolen. All their like laptops
Yeah.
and stuff got stolen out. Okay, can I do a counter?
I haven't even finished my rant.
Okay, go
Okay,
ahead.
it rains all the time. So it gets depressing. You have nice mountains to look at, great, but it rains like twice a day, so that's depressing as fuck. What else? I talked about homeless, the gangs. Oh, that's where ambition goes to die. Okay, so if you're an ambitious person, and you want to like climb the ladder, get somewhere high, that you don't go to BC, because in BC, you work your few hours and then you go jogging. Okay.
but are you more happy?
I think so.
Maybe it depends. If you're not an ambitious person, 100%. If you're looking to coast, the West Coast is the place to go. That's where you go to coast.
Like, coasting ain't too bad, man.
Okay, then that's for you. If you want to climb the ladder,
Shinda's like all I'm about coasting.
Okay, Randy said a few things that I thought were on point. I think work-life balance is key. Mister, I work till 2 a.m. every night, and I'm depressed when I wake up and wondering why I became a friggin' shitty-ass lawyer. Yeah, for sure. I can see why he hates Vancouver. They value being able to go outside and play golf nonstop, because the weather it doesn't get too cold. When they get snow, the city shuts down because people are like, they don't own shovels. Douglas, their premier, doesn't have a small shovel, right?
He's not available.
When it snows, the city shuts down, and they're like, let's just wait for it to melt because it's gonna last a day. Snow messes up Lower Mainland like crazy, which is fun because you don't have to shovel regularly. But if you want to go play in the snow, it's legit a 2-hour drive into the big mountains, into Whistler, and you get to have all the winter fun you want. Hiking it there is remarkable. It's unbelievable. Calgary's same thing, like Bath area. You get that same beauty, except you get better. It's so mild temperature. The best thing I heard was in December you can go golfing in the morning and snowboarding in the evening, because you get those different zones. If you like doing stuff outside of just working,
That's it. But this is if you have the money after you've paid for your expensive house
yeah,
and you have the time
but
to go do all that, right?
here's
A lot of stunting
no,
out
no.
there.
Look, living in Vancouver, living in Richmond, Burnaby, hella expensive. When I was there, I was looking at house prices in Surrey. They were kind of on par with Brampton.
But it's Brampton, isn't it? Isn't that the Brampton of BC?
Yeah, but
It's a
I
bit more
guess
expensive.
it's a bit more expensive, but not drastically.
So, I mean, here's my question to you guys. Where is it better to be a Punjabi or to raise your kids as Punjabis?
Ooh,
Ottawa.
very good question. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's more important for me.
Okay. My takeaway, I'm going to start with Ranjit. I think the gang violence there would be enough to not want to have my kids in a public school there. Because it's not... Here, the kids who go into gangs usually do it because they're not coming from affluent families and their parents aren't around. There, the kids come from super affluent families who jump on the gang
'Cause it's
bandwagon.
fucking cool.
Right?
Yeah, dude. If you go to like a chill with a couple of your buds, have a couple of pops, you're knocking them back. What you're talking about is who got popped where last week. That's what you're talking about. That's a normal conversation. You get through your sports, you get through the house, the wife and the kid, and then you go, yo, blah blah blah's cousin got popped here last week. Yo, I heard. The real story was, nah. What actually happened was that's normal conversation.
Yeah, man. Calgary sounds better than all that. So
Calgary has
There
weirder
you go.
weather. Yeah, no, raising your kids, but I don't want to raise my kids in Brampton too either. I'm like, Brampton's
Yeah.
getting a weird rep. I talk to teachers
Man,
and
it's-
stuff, and the teachers tell me it's just not the place.
get out.
They're
Get
like,
out.
they're like, get out. It's like that movie. But
It's like the
Yeah.
movie.
So final say,
But
I
I
know
mean-
it sounds like a hater, but I'm just gonna say, like, it's a great place to visit. Fuck, move there? No way.
Fair
I
enough.
don't know. But where could
Maybe,
you live,
maybe,
man?
maybe I'll visit one day. But talking about people visiting, PP's on a bit of a tour all across Canada. I think he was in Alberta, right, recently.
Okay,
And
yo,
these
can you say
big
his last
rallies
name?
we've been seeing. No, I'm not saying his
Eddie-
last name.
Can anyone
No,
say his
PP
last
is
name? without-
Pierre Poilievre.
Oh, you actually
Poilievre.
nailed it. I cannot for the life of me say his last name without like just butchering it.
I say it now. Poilievre.
Poilievre. It ends up me wanting
How would
to
a
be
Punjabi
French
say
guy.
it? How the Punjabis gonna say it?
They're not gonna say it.
Oh, Paul.
Oh, Padi.
No, Paul. Let's call him Paul.
Paul
Not gonna
Padi.
say it.
Paul Padi.
You know
Pali.
what's
It's
cool
Pali.
about-
Pali aa gaya.
I tweeted this out today actually, and I got a bit of flack for it because I was called out on it being recency bias. But you were involved in the 2015 Crudo swing, right? I worked with both of you on MP's campaign there, and so we
Yes,
were
sir.
both intimately like seeing Crudo's rise from can he win? Oh my God, this guy can't speak. Holy shit, he's actually winning. And then we saw certain rallies, and he was pulling decent sized rallies here. When I saw what Poilievre,
Call him PP, man. It's a great
PP.
nickname.
When I
PP.
saw PP's pictures of his rallies, I was
Oh,
reminded
God.
of the 2015 rallies for Trudeau. And I, in my opinion, thought that PP's rallies were bigger because I remember a few of those Trudeau rallies. They were doing the let's rent a hall, but let's only do 2 halls and get everyone standing closer. Whereas in PP's,
Optics.
it's older. Everyone has they're going wide angle. Everyone's spaced out a little bit. They're filling up stadiums that way. So I think PP's pulling
It's a
bigger
different-
crowds.
I think it's a different time as well, right? I think we're so much more engaged in politics because there's nothing else to do, and everyone's stuck to their phones or reading about what's going on with the federal government or Trudeau or vaccines and the truckers rally, so on and so forth. So he's going to have a huge rally. He's a huge following, right?
So-
this is something to do now. They haven't had nothing to do for 2 years. What do you think they're going to do? Yeah, let's go check them out.
I was looking at a video. A buddy of mine sent a video of a recent rally, and He said Tim Whipple, for those who know him,
Timmy.
stands out. Yeah, our good. Yeah, I love Timmy. Anyways,
Timmy's
he
awesome.
said he stands out. Okay, and I checked, legit. Like it's a sea of like old white, and you see one bug in there, which is weird because in politics, we're all over the place. But there's only one bug, and it's our boy Tim, and that's already raising like little red flags. What base is this guy
Are
going
we?
for?
Are you guys generally surprised?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think the conservatives can pull a multicultural base if they want to. Okay, a lot of uncles are inherently conservatives, to be honest. But it's weird seeing like Pierre's crowd. It's not like that. So that raised a bit of alarm bells. And if that keeps happening, then there'll eventually be a narrative, or he'll be like have that cross section of the party, and Brown and Charest will have a draw
Do
or
you,
pull of more multicultural crowds. It might be smaller, but they'll be mixed, and that in itself will say something. I
do
think.
you think? Do you think when he speaks or he says certain things that he has the tendency? His term is dog whistle, if I'm not mistaken. That he appeals to that section of the population, the ultra right wing, if you will. Do you think he says certain things and he's, well, I'm not a racist, but he's like, you're kind of implying or insinuating certain things that kind of is like, oh, this is our guy, just like Trump would, right? Until Trump
don't-
actually started saying everything. But
I don't. From everything I've heard him say and speak so far, I haven't heard him dog whistle
well,
against immigrants.
he's supporting the truckers in that whole rally. So that's the one thing that I think Charest was saying this week. Like, if you're going to support them, then doesn't that kind of disqualify you for being a leader?
Like, I think we got to be
So-
careful with the trucker stuff because, yeah, the truckers were Hicks and what's his name? Their leader who's still in jail. I forget his name. The one we ranted on. Huh?
Packing.
Packing. Definitely racist people were leading the convoy. But at the same time, I don't think that's what attracted people to the convoy. Like, I don't think everyone who was supporting the convoy was inherently racist or following it because they felt it was speaking to them from a racial point of view. The convoy spoke to a lot of people's just anti-government sentiment. And I think there's space for that. I think, people being anti-government, like a lot of professionals, UFT professors, I heard a lot of guys who used to work within the government itself, like CMHC and some other crown corps, were on that donor list, right? And I don't think they were being inherently racist supporting the convoy. They were being inherently anti-government. And so I'm not against people being anti-government. I think that's good. All in all, we should be constantly like.
Do you think
eyes on
he
our
has the?
government.
Do you think he has the convictions or the strong beliefs just to say, "Hey, I don't support that element"?
I think
the
so.
country?
I think.
I mean,
so.
remember that was he part of the Islamic hotline? I keep bringing it up, but I'm pretty sure he was part of that whole.
I
Saw
think
the most
yeah, he
terrorist
was.
hotline.
He was young.
anti-
He was a young politician back then.
Has he come out and said, "Hey, I was an idiot," and that's completely wrong?
I think
I
so.
mean,
That's not.
I would think so.
That's
I don't
the
know.
thing. It's the way. Does he go back and correct himself, or he's like, "No, I said." What
I've seen
I
a
said.
few MPs from that time correct themselves on that. I've seen him go out of his way to try and bring brown people and minorities into his campaign. He's got Brampton. He's got a few of the sitting
No,
MPs.
I don't. I don't think. I
generally.
generally don't think he's a racist. I'm not.
No,
Saying,
no.
I'm not implying that.
I understand
No,
what
no,
you're
I'm just
saying.
saying
Did
that
he
he's
retract
just-
his previous?
Conservatives have a tendency just to kind of be,
track
oh yeah,
record.
we need the votes.
He was definitely a Harper guy, so I wouldn't be surprised if he backed Harper on that.
So I have one issue, one big stinking issue is Pierre. Okay, and I know what the rebuttal is, and I'm going to address both. Pierre's angle is some sort of like economic reform. Okay,
Yeah.
he's playing up that level so hard. For a guy that has never done any business, that had to spend money on getting an economics crash course, in this last couple of years with some professor. He actually knows nothing. He's a complete novice. He's out of his element, but that's the platform he's jumping on. Okay. I'm going to address the rebuttal right away too. Trudeau, he's just a fucking, drama teacher. What does he know about economics? And, he got elected. The point I want to make is in 2015, when we were running around in those red shirts, all of us, we weren't
Trudeau.
pushing a leader. No. This leader that was coming up right into the ranks wasn't He was bringing general political reform, sunny ways, okay, a view of how politics should be in the country, and not on a financial platform itself. It was like, oh, we're gonna help families, we're gonna help this, help businesses. Like, there were platitudes, but he was not riding an economic fucking horse to be elected. Pierre is, and if he is, then like I don't think I'm crazy to think he's a fucking idiot, because I know he does know jack shit. But he's riding on that, and he can be easily called out on his lack of credentials. I feel like it's too phony. It's way too fucking phony.
I agree with that. I think it's when he speaks. It's just I listen to him, like he might have valid points, but it's kind of
Have
like the
you
same. He sounds fake to me. That's all.
did you guys see his
That's my
video, the housing one, where he was in Vancouver, had that
house
crash
behind
house,
him.
and
Yeah.
did you guys disagree with what he had to say there though? That's a great
I
video in my
mean,
opinion. Like I hit all the points that I wanted to hear, that, and even it went out to as far to say like, look, even if this gets turned into a multi-tenant thing, we're still trying to get $1 million per unit of this 600 square foot single room to make this a viable project.
But my thing, I think I go to Ranjit there, is that it's the perception or the persona. He's acting like he's an economic genius, or he's so intelligent. On the, if he came back, look, we're going to get the best people, and this is the problem, and this is the people we need, and this is what we need to do, and these are the advisors I've been talking to. But it's his persona, as in I know everything. This is what's
my,
going on. And it's like, cool, but you're not the smartest guy in the room, and that's my problem with it, right?
yeah.
That's
So
the way I look.
I didn't watch that video. I watched a little snippet of it
Yeah.
because it's all over my Twitter. My problem, exactly to echo what Robbie's saying, is not what he's saying. It's you don't understand what you're saying yourself. Someone wrote it for you, and you're saying it well, but you don't actually know how to implement anything to change it. Um, and he picked out an example in BC, and the problems in BC have been there at the real estate market long before the current government was in place, and even before Harper, I would say. Okay, it's like, oh, now we're going to address a problem that's been brewing in the Lower Mainland for the last 25 years, and it's showing its black ugly head now, when inflation has gone crazy. But look, like, what he's going to do is not going to be an overnight solution anyways, or any government. I don't expect anyone to, at the snap of a finger, really cool down this real estate market and make it more affordable for people anytime soon. It'll probably take a couple of elections or a couple of governments coming in with a sustained effort to do that. So whatever, man. I'm just saying, I see through his shit, and it's coming off way too phony for my like.
So where I come from is I like my politicians having good advisors with them. So if he's going out and he's making an effort to learn economics, hiring people for craft, people hire French tutors all the time when they go into politics to learn the language better. Hiring a French tutor, in my opinion, is no different than hiring an economic professor to teach you and bring you up to par on the intricacies of different economic theories. Someone I talked to told me, they're like, hey, you should read some of their books. And I was like, well, I'll check it out. A lot of what Pierre's economic philosophy stems from is inflation's bad, deflation's good. I've been a big deflation guy since Bitcoin, just because I'm a big Bitcoin guy from the start. So him being a big Bitcoin guy, he's kind of like, yo, that's my guy right there. And I've started reading some of the books of the professors that he's been really close to. Nothing they've said really seems to stand out revolution-wise, other than, we do live in changing economic times. We don't have the same privileges that we've had in previous generations when it comes to economics and the way we can, our resources, because right now we're going into more of a technology-based service, money, knowledge sphere of just generating our GDP and all that kind of stuff. The way technology grows and at the rate it grows is a lot different than like the Industrial Revolution and a lot of that kind of stuff. So we do need to rethink certain principles of just our economy in general, right? It's the same way where when I started learning about Bitcoin, started preaching to people all the different aspects of why Bitcoin's better than our current gold or non-gold standard. I didn't understand it, but I was constantly leaning on people who did, and I'm like, that sounds good to me. And if he's doing the same thing, if he's finding smarter people than him to guide him, hey, I want all my politicians to be doing that.
Shinde, let me just use your example. Okay. The French thing, it's like people getting French tutors. If there was a politician who had just started taking French lessons and his entire platform was making sure that everybody in Canada speaks French, and that's gonna, revitalize the Canadian culture and market, and stumping it and making fun of the current party that no one can speak French, and you're gonna be like, yeah. I don't care if you don't fucking know what you're talking about, but I love it.
So you're saying the only
You vote
way,
for that?
but would you say the only
No,
then?
Harper was an economist. Harper was a fucking economist.
Yeah, I mean, what's with the
He was
recent string
great.
of
He was
conservatives?
great for what he
Like,
did.
what Andrew
So
Scheer
you're-
did nothing.
Yeah, Sheer.
But
I mean,
Pierre
Scheer was-
has done nothing. No, but they've done nothing, right? And it's like that can only go so far. Like, people want to go, oh, Justin with he did something other than politics. I don't care. I don't care if it was great or what everybody thinks it is. He did something. This guy's been in politics from day one. So
I mean, I'm sure he works.
But is he playing politics, or does he actually see some success in what he's preaching, or is he just saying things to get into office? And that's where it kind of becomes like, yeah, do I trust what you say, especially when you're talking about a topic you don't really understand?
But
Right
isn't that
now you're acting, right?
fair
So
enough?
Exactly.
the way I think, look,
Sure.
if he's playing politics, then I'm okay with that. That's what it is. But people on my Instagram are putting this guy like he's the world's greatest economist and he's the next revolution. I'm like, whoa, what? Don't you guys read other news or other articles? Like, what's he says a few things and people losing their minds.
It's gonna be
So he's
interesting.
getting he's getting rock star status just like Trudeau. But
Does he
for
deserve it?
No, it's
Yeah.
not that he deserve it. It's just a weird, like Ranjit said, it's a weird kind of approach to his candidacy, I guess, if you will.
Robbie agreeing with me. Oh man, I'm so hot right now.
Hold on, 2 weeks ago, was it 3 weeks ago?
Not ripping your nipples, bro.
3 weeks ago, when we first brought up the leadership race, we had like a bit. Where do you see the candidates and where do you see the race? At that time,
Yeah.
I think I really thought Brown was going to make waves and had a real big shot. I think I'm leaning away from that. I think, like, when I'm seeing the polls and I'm seeing what's going on the ground, I feel like Brown
did you guys
is
read-
non-existent
did
in
you read-
this.
Did you read about today what they had said? I might have been a few days, but I just read an article where Pierre's camp had complained about prepaid credit cards being used for the membership signups. So they're cracking down on that. Like, I'm like,
Look, man, if you work in any leadership, if you work
it's gonna be a fun race.
If you work in any sort of leadership campaign, I know all of you guys have had certain experience like I have in this. They're all doing this. This is why the Liberals got rid of the fees altogether. The Liberals this was being so exploited, and the Liberals were like, look, there's really no one. And it wasn't just this who's doing it. Every culture in the liberal culture became so, you got to pay everyone's fees in nomination race. The Italians started it low key. That's where we learned it from as the Desi community, because they told us, that's how you get your guy in. You pay everyone's fees, you make the members. Conservatives knew it, and they were cool with it because the party's still making bank regardless. And now people are calling it out because whoever has the Desis are the best at it. And they know Brown has the Desis. So they're like, look, let's get rid of the one edge he has and get rid of the prepaid. But you know what happens after?
But his representative says that we don't have any of that, and we're good. So for him, well, it's under scrutiny now, but I mean, it's interesting, right? So,
and I mean, look, Brown's already gone through this when he was provincial leader, where he had a bunch of voter fraud cases and all that kind of stuff come up. That they know what his playbook might be, and they're gonna try to get ahead of it right away. But honestly, like, all parties did it. This is how I'm not throwing anyone under the bus. I 100% feel Jagmeet's campaign, they exploited a similar system, right? And it's why parties in general got rid of membership votes. Like, got rid of paid membership. Liberals did it. I think NDP, I heard, got rid of it. Now it's optional if you want to donate. And I think if conservatives want to go down that road, eventually they're just going to have to go get rid of it. Because what's going to happen is they're going to realize it's not just one candidate that did it. They're going to realize every single candidate's been doing it, and they're going to just shame their party if it gets public.
So one thing I want to mention is new candidates come up until April 29th. Okay, so the candidates that we have right now is not the final list. So I'm gonna give it till the end of the month, and then I think everybody will kind of really turn it on and really go for that. And we got to keep in mind, like the most number of these rallies, like other than a stroke off to his fucking ego,
Their
they
existing
don't
members.
they don't really they don't really translate into a win because of how the conservative election is set up. You have to win each, I think, like each association, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have more than what? It's a fucking complicated system, but there's a ratio for the votes. If you don't have enough votes, like your votes get pushed to the next person or something like that. So it's honestly something that I need to read and internalize and figure out exactly how the voting structure works. But my understanding is that, if you just have a higher popular vote, for example, that doesn't really translate
No.
into a win
Yeah,
for you.
exactly. It's all about trying to get as many. It's trying to who has the largest cross section of voters across all the ridings, and that's why you see Patrick Brown doing job bonding meets in every single city. He's in every mosque, every gurdwara, and every friggin' mandir, just signing up members, saying, "Look, you have been." He has a cool thing. He's saying, "You as a community, a brown community, a Muslim community, a Sikh community, have been underrepresented in this conservative party for ages." And I have a track record of working with all you communities that probably hate each other low-key internally, but through me, I'll be your proxy of peace. Work with me. And he's like, look, I made peace in Brampton with all these different groups that you. What about his thing about taking the Tamil Tigers off the terrorist list?
I saw something about that.
Yeah, I
Dude.
saw it. Yeah.
Hey, he with what's going on in Sri Lanka right now, he understands what matters to ethnic voters, not young ethnic voters, this uncles really. And he
I
knows
think that
how-
matters to the young ones too, man. I mean, they're like the young Tamils. They know their history pretty well.
if it matters, I don't know if it matters to them. I don't, but if it matters to them, he knows how to get new people to jump into the party that probably weren't there before and care. So I'm not really saying Patrick Brown has zero chance anymore, or is not what I'm just saying Pierre is so ahead of the game right now. I feel like I don't
Hey,
know. I
there's
think
still
Pierre
time.
is.
There's still time for him to shoot himself in the
You know,
foot. Right?
I mean, and exactly, and there's always Sheree throwing his support behind Brown, or Brown throwing his support behind Sheree, which can tip the scales.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of time. In my opinion, next week I might come back and say, you know what, boys, I was totally wrong. Like I said, I was Brown first.
Just say I agree with Ranjit. Just say, oh my god,
No.
say it. My eyes are rolling
fuck.
back.
No, man. Right now,
Like
I'm saying Pierre's in the
McMahon
lead.
meme. You know the Vince McMahon meme when he's sitting in the chair.
If Pierre comes to Brampton, man, I might be at one of his rallies, low-key. I might be standing beside Tim. Hey, Tim, give me a shout.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah.
Tim.
Okay, yo,
Anyways,
quickly, though.
Wait, I want to just point out that we didn't fucking do introductions, okay? We're deep
Go
in
for
this
it, man.
fucking
Go,
pod.
go,
And I
go
want
for
you
it, man.
fuckers.
Go for it. If you want
No,
to do it,
I'm
go for
gonna
it.
say it. I'm Ranjit.
Ranch.
Fucking welcome to the
Ranch.
pod. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with Ranch. There's nothing
I
wrong
know.
with
I
it.
just it's the fact that you don't like it, and that makes me happy.
It's my family pet name.
Ranch.
Ranj.
No, Ranja, not Ranj. Ranj. The way I was
It's
saying
like
Sikh
Robbie
last
was
week.
Sikh.
Yeah.
Man.
I get Ranj a lot,
We
actually.
should just...
Right.
Look, we're too...
Ranj.
Is it even worth... I'm going to put our names on the video. Go on YouTube. You'll see our names underneath.
Fine, take Esquire off.
No, I
Yeah,
like
take
that.
doctor off. I gotta take the doctor off too. I didn't feel.
All right, don't go to YouTube. Don't just listen to it on Spotify. Try to recognize who our voices are.
Ranj just said I wasn't a real doctor, and I'm pretty happy with that. So
But yo, talking about trying to I don't even have a segue. But
well, Pierre's talking about housing, so let's talk about that. Housing's going to be affected with the new interest rate hikes. What do you guys think? What's happening with that? And do you think your lives are going to change?
nope.
My work life, I think, is gonna change. I somehow over the last couple of years, I've been doing so much property litigation, and I think people are gonna start defaulting on their homes, or
You think it's gonna be bad?
these private lenders are now gonna be working on power of sales. So I'll probably be doing power of sales, or I'll be defending them. defending against him. But
The lawyers always win out in the end, it seems.
But I'm just saying.
boys
I'm
are
saying the
scumbags.
market. The fuck.
You went from helping people
Just hand out eye
houses.
drops, okay? That's what you're gonna do.
Yeah,
That's
I'm doing
it.
God's work. I'm doing God's work.
Hand out eye
Okay?
drops, okay? Sustained.
My man
You-
literally
you-
went from helping people close on homes to helping people take back homes that,
But
And
yo,
take homes
like
away from
people
them,
are
rip
living on
families
margins.
apart.
yeah.
People are living on
Thin
margins.
margins, very thin margins.
Okay, and now this is gonna come to bear on them. The fucking repercussions of that, because this is what 50 base points change,
Yeah.
Yes,
right? Um, that's
couple hundred. Let's just say couple hundred.
somebody's living on $200 a month off their check.
Yeah.
This is gonna fucking hurt.
Yeah, when you say it like that, even when I was reading, I'm like, oh, $200-300 a month. Yeah, it's an increase, but you feel like someone can handle it. But when a few more interest rate hikes, you're like, that's getting to $5K a year, and that's a substantial amount of money for a lot of people that are on thin margins, like you said. So, and it doesn't help that inflation's going, and groceries getting expensive, everything's going up in cost, right? Look at fuel.
Cost of living.
So it's kind of this kind of like tidal wave, if you will. So I think it is going to be
Clusterfuck.
Yeah. perfect storm, if you will.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, dumpster fire.
dude, you see it at the grocery store, people are buying less, man. They're just
The
buying
carts are
less.
like a little less. The carts are a little lighter. My take is, I think when we bought our house, we were really conservative with the value of the house that we got. We were just we were always worried. We're like, look, I kind of was worried because I was a mortgage agent during like the 2008 time. So for some reason, it's always just been in my head.
Part of the crash.
That's how you bought that house, all those illegal mortgages, huh?
No, man, like at that time, interest rates were what, 5? I remember a lot, like the standard bank rate was about 4.5 to 5%. And then a lot of the mortgages that I was doing, just because people who couldn't go to the bank were the ones coming to me,
Yeah.
those were 7-8% sometimes. And then I remember doing second mortgages for people at 17%. I was like, how the hell do people
Holy
pay
shit.
for? It's people just desperate. They're going to loan sharks, right? Who are like, hey, if you're coming to me for a mortgage, 17%. I'm like, but how this person can't? They have horrible financial literacy to begin with. How are they supposed to? I was so confused. But
So do you think that industry needs a lot more regulation?
I don't even know where that industry is because I've been out of it for so long.
Yeah.
And I remember at that time, a lot of it was fake.
That's the lawyer. That's how that guy down there, like he's smirking because he knows there's money to be made.
From my understanding, and everyone kind of knew what was fake. It was, don't tell us it's fake. Just send us the paperwork. As long as the paperwork looks legit and our underwriters are good with it. And they kind of tell you, they're like, look, if you send us fake documents and it gets booked, we're going to have to ban you and suspend your transactions in the future.
License. Yeah.
So not even your license. We're just, as a lender, we're just not going to look at your deals. So when you send a deal through, if you have a record with us that got flagged once, you just aren't going to get approved. So it was very much a make it look legit and don't be like stupid fraudy, right? And I remember like the advice I was given was, when you start your first year, make sure everything's legit. Once you've built enough of a reputation that you're not like a Fed and you're not going to screw the underwriter over and you're not going to screw your manager over, whoever you're dealing with, your account manager, they will, just send it, don't worry, type attitude. Can you regulate that? No. Everyone's in on it. Everyone's making a buck. Everyone's happy. The underwriter's closing the deal. They're making their buck. The bank's getting their money back in time. As long as, honestly, it all comes down to, are you getting your payments? As long as you
Rate, yeah. As long as the redundancy rate is like low, then it's fine, right?
Yeah.
They don't care how people pay them as long as they get paid. But it's crazy,
But that
man.
might change. That might change now, no?
Well, even now, it's crazy how much or how often people have to complete their purchase of their home with secondary financing. It's nuts now. They're like, this is under the table. Like the banks that they're getting a mortgage from doesn't know about this. But and before they never really cared. They kind of knew people were doing this, but they didn't check. Now it's becoming a big deal. Now they're going up to lawyers who, don't work for the banks. They'll be like, yo, why'd you register a second mortgage on this house? I'm like, well, screw off. My client told me to, right? Like, I do what they say, not what you say. And the bank would be like, all right, from now on, if you do real estate, None of our mortgages can go through you.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
How's that work? Hold on. Banks can just
Just like what,
straight
it's just
blacklist
like what you're saying with the mortgage. They're just
Blacklist.
blacklisting.
We'll blacklist a lawyer
for
It's
like
happening.
setting.
for
Okay.
for registering a second charge, because all A lenders,
Yeah.
even like B lenders generally, they'll be like, the person can't close with secondary financing, and if there's secondary financing, you have to tell us. Well, in
Yeah.
that case, you do, because technically a lawyer will work for the buyer and the buyer's first mortgage bank. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you're hired by both, but other lawyer who's hired just to do the second mortgage, he doesn't owe the bank any duty. He only serves the fucking buyer, right? But banks now, they'll check a month later, a couple months later, and they'll see the secondary financing. They'll call the lawyer who fucking registered it, and now some of these like bigger B lenders, they're going after him. So
Is it?
it's a B lender so far that I've heard of. Okay,
But if you become this, isn't that leave a niche open for people who say, "Look, I can get away with not working with the banks. Let me just be that second mortgage lawyer."
maybe, but what
Because now all of
happens
a
when this
sudden,
market's gone? What happens when the
yeah,
market's gone and you go back to traditional lending?
change your name. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
I just imagine
Yeah.
that if there is this blackball thing, that you still get a lawyer who now makes that his niche, who says, "Look, I'm never going to make money from the bank, so I'm going to double down and really make money working against the bank's interest."
Yeah, that's a risky game.
It's not a long term game, man.
Yeah, that's a short term.
It can never be a good thing in the long run to be blackballed by banks. It's better to just say no to that, like $1,000 that some guy's trying to pay you to register a second private.
Fair enough.
I wonder. Yeah,
What happens though if people start defaulting? Where does that like leave the market?
I think more people will sell. I mean, you're going to get the surges of listings, and there might be people that actually have the finances that just didn't bother and couldn't get into it, and they think it's the right time. I personally don't think it's going to be this sudden drop off or cliff, but maybe a cooling, stagnation, decreased
Cooling
prices.
right now. We're in a cooling right now.
Yeah, what I
What's
mean
that
is
mean?
in like
What's that mean? Like
house stays on the market for more than a day. That would be a cooling for me, right?
People aren't getting offers.
Home inspections come back.
Home inspections are a thing. Appraisals are coming down much lower than what people are buying for. So people's down payments are much bigger than what they planned for.
Yeah.
I've seen it a few times now. I've heard of it quite often, and that's where the secondary financing comes in, boys. Right? So, you're going to see a lot more of it though now, and I think banks are going to get a little bit more conservative too. But
Should we blame this all on Photoshop? It'd be great to see a graph, on mortgage approvals and the surgence of
fraud rate.
Photoshop just Photoshop. What did they do before Photoshop? Right?
I mean,
I don't think fraud was as there was fraud, but it wasn't as.
So I don't know how crazy it is now. I've been out of the game for almost a decade, if not more. At the time, it felt like it was a lot more than it was. If what I'm trying to say is the only people going to mortgage agents and mortgage lenders at the time were people who couldn't qualify for general, who couldn't go through their banks. If you couldn't get your banks to take your mortgage, you'd go to a mortgage agent. The mortgage agent would try a bunch of A lender financial institutions, but most of your clients were B lender type customers, and the C ones they would be like, "Look, can you just get us a letter? Can you do that?" It was just part of the game, but the majority of it, I'd say, is like less than 5%, a lot less than 5% of the total thing.
Less than 5%
think
fraud.
what, less than 5 people fraud?
No.
Less than
I think
5% was
way-
fraud.
Now, but it's way more.
You think it's way that?
Shinda, how many of these people are buying these $1.3 million houses with before tax salary of $60K? Does that even sound right to anybody? Yeah, fine. They're getting money from their the help. But if you just step back and look at the numbers, you're like, that doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I would say it's
No,
somewhat
fine.
inverse of what you might have
Sorry.
had.
You think
Sorry,
it's
so
95% is fake?
Yeah.
I think well over half.
So let's say that how would I put it? let's say there are for people buying houses legitimately, and that's a majority of the population. But some people are buying 3, 4, 5 homes. You think that's on a legitimate basis? Come on, like
Working at
if
the
any
Amazon
lenders,
factory.
yes.
I mean, I guess I'm just ignorant of who's actually
Yo,
buying
seriously,
houses.
if it was straight off your CRA and your bank accounts, no one would get a mortgage.
I honestly thought it was just
Yeah,
people
but a
leveraging
lender,
their equity
okay,
for down payments.
and self-employed people are always screwed when they're going to a
Yeah,
lender's.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where they got to go to B. So it's not always that's not always the case, but man, shouldn't it's not 5%. It's
It felt like
ridiculous.
5% because every
no wonder
mortgage
this
I
guy
was
wants to
doing.
live in BC.
Look, every lender I was dealing with, I was still on like my probation term, so I had to do everything legit. And so all the deals I was closing, all the deals I was closing for all my agents were legit deals because I'm like, look, our brokerage is new. I'm really new at this. I can't be risking it. I knew which mortgage agents I could contact and refer to for the other stuff, but I kind of kept it, of arms distance. Like, listen, I can't do this I can't close your mortgage for you. Holler at this person. Maybe they can help you better, right? But the number of times I had to do that was so small that for me it didn't even feel like it was that drastic of
All I know,
a
some of these
problem.
mortgage agents are balling right now. That's all I gotta say.
Yo, it's
Yeah.
such a beautiful profession because you're legit just the
No,
amount of
no,
work you're
they're no, no,
doing.
no. Now they're balling, Shinda. Like it's unreal the amount of money they're making. So
Real
I
But
wonder
estate
no,
how.
agents. You know,
but the amount of work a mortgage agent does is literally collect forms on behalf of a bank and then
There's
send it
a
in.
Shinde. When there's illegal systems, there's a lot of cash going around. Trust me.
Yeah.
You're not just
No,
buying
no,
Rolexes on your
no,
credit
no,
card.
no. All I'm saying is the workload of a mortgage agent is very, very light overall. Like the
fair
legwork
enough.
and
Yeah.
stuff, they're really just processing a form. And supposedly they're supposed to be the ones helping lawyers get things done. But my experience that I learned later was there were a lot of mortgage agents who wouldn't send the details or to like they'd make it a very tight thing, and then they'd put pressure on the client to pay them more to get it done. That was the scam that I saw happen a lot,
Yeah.
and that one
Yeah.
was really shady. But
There's still a lot of agents that do that, which is not good. But and one thing we're going to see now is real estate agents that are actually worth it.
Yeah.
Now in these markets, this is where you
this
have
is
to get
the
a
real
good
from
real
the
estate
states.
agent, not the house will sell itself kind of shit. Okay,
Not the guys. I work so hard, but I don't take any calls.
like now they'll
Focus.
actually make effort into their videos. They'll actually make videos. They'll do cool
Nah,
things.
I can't stand those Insta videos, man. They're getting to me.
Which
They're
is
getting to me a
I
lot. The podcast, how to be a successful businessman. It's like,
oh
bro, come on. Like the market's super hot. You're making a lot of money, but now you're flaunting it as well, and you think you're like this
Savant.
extremely successful
Yeah,
business
yeah,
person.
yeah.
Yeah, like I figured something else. Come on, at least be a little humility. We'll see how you do when the market tanks, right? That's when we
that
really see what
that's
you're made of.
that's what I remember in day trading. It was I learned how to day trade through a bear market because I went through like a straight bull and then I dealt with learning how to trade in the bear, and that's when a lot of the senior traders that I was learning from and stuff would always say they're like, and everyone makes money in a bull market. You fucking piss. You know, you throw something in the air, it comes back. You made money. All of a sudden, you're a genius. And I used to get so annoyed by a lot of traders who would do that. They're like, buy this. I'm like, you have no real basis on telling someone to buy something other than all equities are going up. You're fucking making a fortune, but there's no real knowledge here. But in a bear market, you got to actually pay attention. You got to be really strict on your risk management, that kind of stuff. And so I remember at that time there was a saying that the bear markets is where like the real traders and the real people kind of come out. So I'm guessing this is where that applies to realtors.
And because the scary thing is people are investing in real estate as a speculative asset.
That's
That
insane,
is
right?
fucked.
For
That is so
crypto,
fucked.
100% that makes sense because crypto by its nature is a speculative thing. But for fucking real estate, the least liquid of like all sorts of investments, like I made no sense. I remember when someone asked me like, "Yo, do you want to invest in real estate?" I'm like, honestly, I need something more liquid because I'm a speculative investor, more or less. I'm like, I can't do that with a house. I get stuck with a house. It takes me a month and lawyers to make a deal happen and close. I'm like, I need something I can just click and right away.
Yeah, but
It's insane.
everyone's making money. We'll see what happens when no one's making it or they're losing it.
I
And
feel
see what
left
the
out, man. I
conversations
didn't
are
make.
like, right? No, I mean we all did it. Like I wish I bought a ton of houses 10 years ago. Everybody says that, right? But
I mean, I didn't
it
have
is what it
that
is,
kind of
right?
money 10 years ago.
I'm just trying to tell you, like that's okay. But the fact that they keep saying, "Oh, it's never going to come down," or "You're never going to face any hardships," or just invest, invest, invest. I think one of our podcasts, I don't know how many years ago, we talked about how 700,000 was way too much for a house, and now we're sitting at 1.4. So it is going up, but at some point, the general population can't afford that, and then the dynamics will change. Then they'll become investors. I think we were talking before. I think Shinda, you were mentioning 33% of the market is investors
Yeah, blew
buying a
my
home.
mind.
So I mean, what happens when it comes to 50, 60%? Everyone's renting. I mean, that's all going to change, but the notion that just put your money in and you're guaranteed a return is going to be interesting when people start getting burned, right? And it's going to be unfortunate for a lot of people, to be honest. So we'll see.
All right, I'm gonna shift away from this, but talking about people getting burned, I don't know if you saw this video. It was a social media influencer who got burned on Twitter. People just like totally ragged on her for doing this post, which was educating people on Vaisakhi. Have you
So
guys seen
why did they?
this?
Why did they?
I
What
saw
did she
it.
say?
I thought it was pretty fucked up what people did, but
What did she
are
say
we
that
able to
was wrong?
play
What
it?
did she say? What did she say?
So the big thing that a lot of people were mad at was they said she overglossed it and simplified it too much. So when she was
Yeah.
like talking about the five beloved ones, she's like, they put their hand up and they went into a tent and Guru Gobind Singh had a sword
No,
and
no, 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 no. She said, she legit, she did everything right. She said, everybody linked up at Anandpur Sahib. Five guys said that they'll give their heads. Then they went into a tent with Guru Gobind Singh Ji and had a word. That's what people are so pissed about. Okay.
that they had Chapani in the tent.
Yeah, exactly, right? Because it was supposed to be some big symbolic event where they got Amrit, okay? Had a word. But the fucked up part is like the Sikh community is actually there's a huge debate about what actually happened when they went into that tent anyways. So I took it as fuck, this girl's really smart. Instead of taking a side on the debate, she just glossed over it and gave a very generalization because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Everybody came out accepting that they're Panch Pyare.
Yeah.
All right. So I thought she was being fucking great and fucking United Nations here. People are fucking dragging her. Her name is or Erim or something. Okay, her name is stupid.
Why are you gonna do that to
Because
her?
I can't say it.
That's so uncalled for.
Erm. But what she did was
She's the
great.
stupid one because you can't
It
say.
was a great, yeah. Okay,
Yeah, it's
I'm
her
dummy,
fault
I
that you
admit
can't
it.
say her name, right?
Erim.
I don't
Anyways,
know. I've never heard
Just
that
say
name
it,
before, but
Aaron. Let's just butcher it. Aaron.
Erin. Yeah. She did a great job with that video. You can get dragged for your name, but not for that. The video is great. The people who, man, it's fucking Englandese. These Englandese make everything a big fucking deal. What's wrong with
Hold on.
Englandese six? That's a segment.
I'm still confused. What did she say that was wrong?
That
that she didn't
he
take
had a word. That he had a
Okay,
word
so
with
and
him.
what's her followers? How many followers does this girl have?
I think she's a TikTok star. I don't have TikTok. Shinda. I don't know if you
She's
can pull it
let's
up.
I
assume
have
she's
TikTok.
if we're talking about
You guys want me to
over
look this up right
100K,
now?
well,
Yeah.
my view of it,
I'm
she's
gonna open up
educated
TikTok right
100.
now. Let me look this up.
We're going.
Yeah, she
Robbie, going.
my point is she's probably educated a lot of people who probably didn't know about
Yeah,
a little
100%.
bit of the historical background. Isn't that a positive? Take it for what it is.
100%.
And which she didn't say anything factually incorrect because no
No,
one really
she
knows the
didn't
facts.
say that Vaisakhi Day you celebrate with Bhangra, for example. She
Yeah,
didn't say that.
exactly.
It's a religious
I know.
holiday. People show up in Anandpur Sahib. She got the year right. She got the Guru right. You know?
All right. So on Instagram,
Better
or
than
not
I
Instagram,
can,
sorry.
so I'm not gonna hate.
So on TikTok, she has 236,000
damn.
followers, which honestly for TikTok, that's light. Because I know a bunch
Yo,
of people with like millions of. Like,
Shinda, I don't even have TikTok, so I'm pretty impressed.
apparently 230,000 TikTok. That's kind of light. That's all I'm saying. Instagram is what people say is the de facto. I don't know which. Should I look up Instagram?
Sure.
But yeah, like what you were saying, that's still she gave a message to
To how many?
240,000 people, right? Saw that.
Yeah, man. I don't get this whole like attack non-religious people for
No,
saying
it's
something. You know,
they're
highlighting
losers, man.
and
These people are losers who are dragging
no,
your
but there's always
250,000 on
no.
Instagram. So
There's always
two
been
hundred
that
and fifty
thing.
thousand on Instagram,
249, but I'm gonna round up
That's a
250. Give her
lot
the
of people.
benefit.
dude.
So my whole thing on that is if she said something inherently disrespectful or disparaging to our community, fine. If it's just because she didn't highlight it in the way you wanted, you need to shut up. You know, you're just mad that she has more followers than you do, and you're not doing a good job of spreading your own word. You know, it comes back to that. You know, everybody used to hate Diljit for a while, and people probably still do.
You
But
know,
yo,
the
you know
debate.
that boy has got more Sardars wearing pagga than anyone else more recently. He doesn't get that respect. He's made it cool again. Be it from a religious standpoint, be it not. But if he's doing something good for a community, man, highlight it. Be happy. What's with being pissed off all the time? And I don't understand that. Englandese, whoever it is, just relax. You know, you like your religion the way you like it. You don't need to get mad at it if it's no one's offending you. You know, my whole thing with the Vaisakhi thing, I understand. That's the story I was taught when I was a kid. The way I look at it personally, this is not to offend anyone out there, is that, you know, loyalty was requested. Few people responded, and it changed the narrative of our Qawm, if you will, right? Because everything that goes with it, Amrit, you know, the Khalsa, birth of the Khalsa, you know, whatever you want to call it. But to get into the, oh, you didn't say this exactly, so you're a bad Sikh. Sorry, I'm not going to say Sikh today. Sikh.
You've been really embarrassing.
That was bad.
Yeah. You know, it's just, I think you need more to do with your time. You just have too much time to get angry about that stuff.
She could have just as easily said that Guru Gobind Singh Ji took them one by one into the tent and came out with a bloody sword. And the bloody sword, you know, people believe that a goat was slaughtered. A goat. But he tricked people to think that it was the head of a person. That's one rendition. And that would have got everybody's kashad in a knot.
I mean, not except the people who push that. It's a really, you know,
it's a
really hotly debated thing.
So what she did was like legit.
So is it because there's a lot of mysticism around a lot of?
I mean, I don't know if you want to call it mysticism. There's certain things which people are like.
There's a lot of so let's say this. I'm not going to debate about. I've already had my debates with other people about powers, and my teachings or the way I take it is that we are straying away. No, we're just straying away.
Ranjit's like, let me pull up my science degree here.
No one's floating on air. No one's has superpowers. So if you just follow it from that way and from messages and changing of your mindset, I mean, messages are messages. But to get mad at someone who's promoting our own community from a different perspective, you're just mad because you're not doing it. That's
all
it.
Right, now that we got the Dilsaf perspective out of the way,
the
Dilsaf perspective. I do think Erim got bullied. I'm not gonna lie. I saw her thing. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with what she's saying, and I felt like she was getting bullied but the reason she was getting bullied is during the farmers' protests and stuff. People really felt that Erim was taking what was happening in Punjab and using her platform to not only raise awareness for it, but to push her own platform across using that situation, right? So she sells a makeup brand, I believe, or something. And so people were like, or like a skin cleaning product of some sort. And people were like, well, she's using this situation to really clout chase and promote her own brand and kind of like leech off it. I don't know how much of that I agree with her or not. I feel like that's hard to say.
How do they say it? Damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of scenario.
Yeah, because I know
if you have that platform and you don't say nothing, they're like, oh, why don't you come and say something? And then when you come say something, everyone's on you like, oh, you didn't, so
you didn't say what you wanted. So yeah. So that's what
nothing could be worse than Lily doing the whiskey commercial.
That's what I'm wondering, right? I wanted to ask you guys about that. Is how does this compare with the thing that happened with Lily and her Bacardi commercial?
If she associates herself as being a Sikh, then there's an issue.
No.
But if she goes, No, but if she's not religious and she parties in Diwali and drinks, I'm okay with it. It depends on who you are, right? Like if she doesn't care, she doesn't care.
I like. There's nothing wrong with non-practicing or even like anybody a non-amritari, doing a boost or a post about whiskey or whatever. Like that's not a big deal. Live your life. But associating it with a religious holiday,
But is it a
that
religious?
that was that
No,
was
it's
bad.
a religious holiday for us. But
Yeah.
in Diwali, otherwise, festival lights, aren't they doing Diwali parties and drinking and isn't that the new thing
That's
in
a
India?
modern iteration
Like,
of
yeah,
how
they're like
Diwali
giving
is
gifts like
celebrated
Christmas.
in
It's like their
India.
Christmas. It's
And I'm
like their
going to talk
Christmas.
about non-Sikh India, okay?
Yes, non-Sikh India. It's
Yeah.
Christmas. So my feeling was that commercial was more catered towards them, not for us. Right now, if she's doing it from our perspective, that's wrong. But if she's just catering to the Christmas of India, the
Bollywood,
giving
let's say the
gifts and
Bollywood
partying.
party. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Then
that's
that's fine.
then who cares, right? So
Yeah.
there's two sides of way of looking at it. So
I just find it astounding that people get really, really pissed about people being ignorant. So people were mad at Erim because they're like, she doesn't know the exact history. I'm like, I don't know if you guys saw the clip. There was a guy who was at it was Malta Nagar Kirtan. He was going
oh, that
around,
guy.
and then
That's
Pannu
too
goes up
much.
to him. He's like, "Why are you here?" He's like, "Oh, see, Vaisakhi bana rahe hain." And he's kind of like he had this very like chest out approach of why he was there. And they're like, Pannu's like, "So tusi dasso Vaisakhi da ki message hai, ki matlab hai, ki history hai." And he's like, "Ah, paji, pucho na." I
That's
was
too
what?
much.
That's too much, right? I was legit
I want to
curious.
meet that guy.
Don't shake
Apparently,
the guy's hand.
I'm curious because I remember when I forget who he was, but everyone said that guy was a prominent guy on Twitter at some point, or Facebook at that time. Like he was constantly like pushing religious messaging himself. Like everyone needs to get better. I don't know. This is just at this point I don't even know what's true or not. Um,
So he's a
but
Pierre Poilievre. Okay.
yeah, okay, he could have been a peer.
PP.
Good bring back. No, but you totally wiped my train of thought. Fucking guy. That's a blessing in itself, I guess.
It's kind
Could have
of.
been that good. But
I mean, who cares? But who cares if he doesn't know? He's there. He's celebrating.
Yeah.
Let him celebrate.
No,
Get
okay,
over
so
it.
this is what I was gonna say: is the people shitting on her. If I were to ask them, like, yo, without opening up a Google search, can you name the Panch Pyare? How many of them would have been able to respond right off the bat, like, this is the history that you need to know,
None of
right?
them.
It's just always comes to my mind of when people try to
Three of
correct
them go
others,
ahead.
right? I'm just curious.
I don't.
When
I'm not even gonna pretend I know. I'm okay. You know.
But that's
You
the
don't
weird
have to
thing.
pretend like you know.
The people that I've noticed this on Twitter a lot, and it's not just on Erim or on Sikhi in general. I see it all the time with other topics because there's some economists that I follow, and if I go in their comments, people are like, "Oh, you don't even know what you're talking about," and the guy's like, "Buddy, this is my career. This is my degree. I get licensed by the government to give them, analysis. How are you correcting me on Twitter in general? We have this weird culture on Twitter of laymen correcting experts and thinking that they know more. It's like when anti-vaxxers were talking shit to doctors, like, you don't know this study. Twitter
Done my
really has
research. I've done my research.
so sick Twitter having the same level of, I know my history better than you and let me correct you. I'm always
Can I ask you something? Why is it that the more religious people in our community get, the bigger bullies they are towards Monne, going against the original principles they're studying?
Okay, hold on. Before we throw friggin' Amritari Singhs on it, the people bullying her were other Monne.
Yeah.
90% of all the hate were Monne.
Yeah.
It was Monne shitting on her for saying you don't know what you're talking about. I think most Amritaris, I didn't notice one. Most Amritaris have accepted, like, if
Okay,
a Monna's
so
talking about a Sikhi, just let it go. Don't even jump in the mud with
So
them.
it's not about
Robbie.
Sikhi, but I've personally been bullied by a few Amritaris for even being in the same room.
I'll
Okay,
tell
so
you. I'll tell you what the Amritaris will bully you about. If you wanted to take your kids to watch a movie that animated Sikh history, like animation
why
Sikh
why
historical
why is that
figures,
wrong?
that's what they would
Why is
bully
that
you
wrong?
for. Yeah,
Why would
I know.
they bully
I
you
know.
for that?
I know.
They like to bully though.
They
It's a
might
very
hold on, hold on,
theater.
hold
It's a
on.
very it's a gang culture, man. Like the BC
Hold
gangs.
on.
They just,
Hold on. You want to talk about it? You want to give some pretext now to the movie?
So I didn't even know about this movie, but one of my favorite Twitter accounts posted about it. Um, he sent a screenshot of some movie called Motherhood. It's an animation of. Shinde, help me out. I have no idea who it's about. Oh, Mata Saib Kaur. Okay. So it's about one of the most, I guess, prolific female warriors in our history. And they made an animation movie about it. People are taking their kids to watch it, and there's calls to boycott it. I don't understand why.
Well, are the gurus represented in any way in a physical form in the movie?
But I think they have like a drawing of them. I don't think they had them.
Yeah, because they never do that. That's the one thing they don't do. So
No, they've always
we
done
can have
that.
pictures. We can have pictures of them, but they can't be in animation.
they can't be
Right.
in motion.
Right.
I thought Sabza they had the Guru Sahib like in
Fake
motion, no?
pictures that were
They just
probably
didn't have
created
any
in
wording, no?
1984.
Yeah, honestly, I
But
didn't
how-
even know this was a thing until I saw something from Dixie Gordora emailing Cineplex to boycott and remove the movie.
Can I ask a question on that? I mean, this is my ignorance to the whole that part of idolization. My assumption is that the gurus never wanted to be idolized, so they told never take pictures, don't make statues, X Y Z. Am I correct in saying that? Would that be
Yeah, I mean, generally,
maybe a simplification? Let's just say
I don't know about that.
no,
There's
like don't
just
take a
generally-
picture because they didn't want us to start praying to statues. I mean, that's the
Okay.
that's the way I look at it. Okay, so if that's the case,
like
we shouldn't
Murti
look at
Puja
any
was never
pic-
supposed to be a thing.
yeah, Murti Puja, fine, if that's what you want to call it. Now, if it's in a historical context in a movie and it's a representation, I don't think we're going to start praying to an animated movie. Now, is that wrong? If it's just representing history and
I think a big part of
engaging,
it-
like look at in terms of Christianity, with the Jesus movies with Mel Gibson and Passion of the Christ, if you will. People aren't praying to those movies. That they know that is an actor. That's the way I look at it. I mean, are we wrong to be so against that?
I mean, I think for different people, but this is where religion really gets murky. Is it means different things to different people, and different people have different understandings and interpretations and values. And I remember even like I sit with things, like the debates we get into sometimes are really stupid over the little minuscule things that we had a whole thing on gold chains, whether or not it's appropriate for a Singh to wear a gold chain or not. And like
A gold bata is okay, right? With lines.
the line,
I learned that. I learned that last week.
that
Thanks.
was
Shinda.
wild.
Take that to my religious group.
So I know there's generally like a view that we shouldn't represent the gurus in any form of like painting or drawings or anything like that. But then a lot of people are like kind of like, no, whatever. If it's something that you can look at that'll remind you of Sikhi or just remind you to like, hey, there's a higher being out there, it's a good thing. As for animations and acting, a lot of people I know, I've never really heard people against the animation aspect. What people are really against and it's kind of been uniformly against, is putting words into the guru's mouth that isn't Gurbani. Because we're like, we can't assume what the guru said other than what they've given us as what they've said.
But I mean, surely
Right.
we've assumed that they spoke other words than Bani. Come on, that's just ridiculous. Like, I'm hungry. No, please. Come on, like a common sense. I know it's fine.
No.
You can't make up
Okay,
the words,
so-
but just basic speech is not gonna. Or if
But it's
let's say
kind-
you have an actor. Let's say okay. So going back to that, the whole.
So look, when
Yeah, you
Katha
said-
watches
and-
do Katha on what Guru Sahib said, they will do interpretations of like Guru Sahib ne fir kya, and they'll fill in the blanks and like it won't be direct Gurbani quotes sometimes, right? Or when they'll talk about the situations. But I think what people have with animations in general is they're just like, how vetted was this, etc. I fall in this weird place where I'm not against it, so it's hard for me to like join in on the chorus of let's get rid of it, because from what I've seen a lot of parents do is like the Sahibzade movie was huge and still is, for parents to be able to convey a history that they might themselves don't know how to really convey to their kids. And I think stories like this, we need movies, we need ways outside of just Katha at Gurdwara that tell our
So-
stories.
I mean,
So-
I think what you're saying in your point before with the pictures of a reminder. Yeah, it's a problem when you start putting hars and praying to those pictures, or a picture falls and people freak out in your house. That kind of thing that I've seen is weird.
I mean, look,
that happens. Look, no, that's it, because it's a picture. If we say we're not going to idolize these things and treat it than what it is, if the picture by Sobha Singh, who just made this creation of Guru Nanak out of his own mind, falls on the floor, you're not disrespecting our religion. You know what I mean? Like the fact that we started thinking that pictures have this power. So let's put that aside, okay? So we're not going to pray to the pictures and whatnot. Educate this on me, because this is me being ignorant to the next thing I'm about to say. Well, I was on Twitter, and it was about the pictures of shaheeds in a gurdwara taking on and off, whatever that thing was. Now, when we put pictures of shaheeds, are we not idolizing them again? Aren't we putting hearts on them? Like, this is where I get confused now. So, now, are we not supposed to idolize anybody? Are we? This is explain it. I'm ignorant. This is my ignorant view. So it's an ignorant view.
You have the Munna, the Sunday Gurdwara Munna view that
not even man, once a year.
I honestly I grew up with that, but no. So one thing I just want to attack on a technical basis, Shinde, your framework for why people are against it. Historical grunts, first of all, have, and then the Guru said this and that, and it's not Bani. So, and nobody's burning historical grunts, they never have. So, burning a movie over that doesn't make any sense. On a technical basis, that's a flawed argument. And Robbie, to your point, man, I'll say this is more of a personal view. I'm never against a physical manifestation for someone who has reverence for, the gurus. If that physical manifestation is, you still do your part and whatnot, but you're putting hearts on pictures, go be it, man. If that means, you're waking up at 5 a.m. and you light tumf, and you walk around the house and around the picture of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, I don't care. Do you, right? So
that's Murti Puja.
I mean, if you really Bani's the importance, this is a personal fucking view. I'll say this is a real underscore. This is a personal fucking view.
When you guys say this shit, I'm just like, man, I swear to God, some mama thought he's gonna call me and be like, Shinde, why the fuck didn't you correct these guys right off the bat?
Bring him on.
As long as Bani's the most important
bring him
thing.
on, yo.
As long as that's a real point. The takeaway was Bani is supposed to be the forefront.
I'm gonna get Erim to over some of these comments, aren't I?
Maybe, but I don't honestly have a big deal about that, because people are matha taking in a gurdwara, when they get up, when they sit down, when they walk out, when they're walking backwards. There's all sorts of symbolism, and it's a physical manifestation of your respect for where you are and what you're doing. Okay, it'll manifest itself physically in every way. It'll almost ritualistic. Okay. But
so you're saying that you're saying basically that
we can't get away from it. We can't get away from it. It's a human nature, but we just keep
why don't we utilize it? Then why don't we utilize it in media? This is my question. Why are we so? Like you said, a picture's okay, but a moving picture is wrong. Why? There's no difference.
I think maybe the fear is that we make their image and them speaking what they've done so common that people might lose the awe and
we've already done with that with these pictures.
But maybe when
you think of Baba Nanak, you have a picture of a certain looking male.
Yeah.
Guru Nanak Dev Ji never looked like that. But instantly, that's so
busting picture. To be honest, I don't even think he tied a pug. I think he had a topi on it because it was common during the time.
Whatever he looked like, we don't know. But we have an image now that's been implanted in our head from those pictures. Now, is that a good thing, bad thing? I don't know, but it might be a good, like you said, it's a reminder, right? I think from an educational standpoint, having kids in this world, it wouldn't be a bad thing. I think it'd be pretty cool. Now, it doesn't have to be movies about what they say, but maybe historical, like the Sabzade movies you were talking about, or more stories with that. I don't see a problem, right?
Honestly,
I'm okay with it.
I don't understand where this hate for this movie came from, because I feel like, and a lot of times when stuff like this comes up, my mind goes into what are the politics? Did someone not get paid like they got paid for the last one, or did someone get overlooked? Like what else really
mad? It's a BB movie. That's why they're mad.
I can't. I don't know, man. This was such a nonsensical issue to me that I was just like, really, we're against it. Like when I heard the movie, I'm like, oh, that's pretty dope that they made a new one like this. And then no, we're boycotting. I'm like, who's boycotting? Just I mean, that just means you're gonna download it off YouTube.
Exactly. That's the funny, and they're gonna IPTV and rip it off and not.
Everyone's gonna watch it
Like,
anyway, man. I don't know. There's really
I
no
don't know.
stopping. And yeah, the way people were like, we were silent when the Sajjad movie came out. We were silent when the Ousting movie was it Ousting was the second movie I think they did. Honestly, I don't understand it to the same point that people get mad. I've always been on the side of why don't we have a epic as big as like Gladiator that really talks about Sikh made. Like, why don't we have those Hollywood blockbusters? And I talked to movie producers. I talked to guys who, write productions and stuff and have put a lot of thought into making Sikh stuff. And they legit told me, they're like, we want to do it. We want to make it historically accurate, but we could do everything and we're still going to get people trying to shut it down. Like, at what point do we just have to say it's not worth our headache to fight the community if the community is just so undivided?
Yeah,
the community is divided. That's the problem.
Yeah, and look,
Right?
like
That's the issue.
if you want to draw a line and say none of the gurus can be depicted in animation, like fine, but like Mata Sahib Kaur, fair game, Banda Singh Bahadur, fair game, Baba Buddha Singh, fair game, like Baba Deep Singh, even, man, like fair game. I mean, that it's just too extreme, way too extreme.
And it's animation. Let's just
And it's
remember,
animation.
it's
Yeah.
animation. Like, isn't that the first step? Man, honestly, if a Baba Deep Singh movie came out, you guys wouldn't watch it.
So I've always this is more of my personal thing. When there's a story that's really personal to me, I don't like this. I don't like the alternative interpretations of it. It's why, like, if a Sanjay Nelsing movie came out in the 1984 stuff came out, I was like, the way I've learned it, the history I have of it, I don't kind of want a fictional. I don't want a non-fictional take on it, and that applies to everything, right? So when it comes to these movies, even
Good point.
for me, sometimes it's kind of like
remember.
I've never been against them, but at the same time, where I come from is kind of like, look, I've got it. I have some good I'm gonna bring an example of it was a Bachittar Singh. The story about that, I've listened to the Katha so many times that I have like this really good interpretation of what happened. If someone said we're making a Hollywood blockbuster rendition of this, I'd be like, you know what, my Sharda from that Sakhi and the interpretation that I've grown up on is so good that I wouldn't want to. Same way, and say you've read a book so like that's so close to you, to go and watch the TV show or the movie adaptation of it, sometimes it just doesn't live up to that hype, and you just like leave upset. Like,
but it doesn't change your belief.
It might not change my belief, but I'm kind of like,
we're talking about beliefs, right? We're talking about your. It wouldn't change your belief. You'd be pissed off if it was a crappy movie.
I just find so many shortcomings in it that I would be more annoyed maybe coming out. That for certain topics I just won't.
But for people, ignorant people like me would learn something, right?
I'm not against ignorant people from you learning something from that movie. I wouldn't say, hey, you shouldn't watch it. Because I'm like, look, you learned something more than not knowing anything at all. So I wouldn't stop the movie from being made. I just personally might not watch it because I'm like,
I understand your sentiment, but I'm going to use Malcolm X as an example. Denzel Washington played Malcolm X. People loved the movie. It was a great freaking movie. People loved his performance. Okay, for an iconic figure who people hold in their hearts, like many people hold Sanjay Nelsing. And it would be great if we had in Punjabi cinema a Denzel kind of actor who people could say, yes, he would play a great Sanjay Nelsing, fits the role, fits the bill perfectly, and does it do justice. Like, it's a good actor. I would probably feel ways about the historical accuracies based on how I know it, but overall, like, it's a win, man. It's a win.
The Malcolm X thing is an interesting point because I love the movie. I first watched the movie. After watching the movie, I loved it so much I went and read the books. I read his book, then I went and read every single one of his speeches. Then I went and fucking listened to every single one of Malcolm X's speeches. So the movie did introduce me to a figure and drive me to want to learn more. And then I did learn what the shortcomings of the movie were. And I was like, whatever. I still kind of gloss over them. I still think it's a dope movie. And it was weird because I really went deep into like Malcolm X's Ityas and like everything around it. So yeah.
But I mean, do we have the tendency in our community to make every historical figure a godlike figure and therefore untouchable? I mean, isn't that what the problem is? Like, look at all these communities making biopics from everybody. You know,
Biopic.
I mean, let's talk about other political figures. Che Guevara's had so many movies made out about him. So if someone that was close to your heart and you didn't like it, you didn't like it, but you moved on, right? I mean, is it because I'm not talking about movies about the gurus and all that? I'm just talking about other
Historic
figures
figures.
in history. Yeah,
But
I
like,
mean, why not? It doesn't make sense from an educational standpoint. If we're crying as a community that the youth doesn't know anything, okay, let's step up your game. Stop crying about it.
I think there's also a
And
difference
and,
between a
and
biopic and a documentary.
yeah, obviously we're talking about someone acting the role, so that's not a documentary.
So I
Malcolm
think,
X wasn't a documentary;
no,
it
it
was a
wasn't.
biopic.
Yeah. Um, all right, whatever. One thing I want to correct though, before we totally go too off topic, is what was happening in London Gurdwara wasn't so much that people were against the pictures of the Sheeds up, and that's why they were removing them, because they thought, we shouldn't. The people removing them were pro India. We don't think you should be celebrating these figures at all, type thing.
Oh
We
yeah,
don't
yeah.
want these
I
people
was
being
just,
honored,
I
right?
was,
I just
I
wanted
was
to
just not. Yeah, yeah. No, I don't think it was that. I was just generally talking about
UK,
pictures.
London, Ontario.
Ontario.
London, Ontario.
Whoa.
Yeah, so what they did, London, Ontario, uh, they had a center announcing, like most Langan halls in Panthan Gurdwara, they have their shaheeds being honored it's almost kind of like a war memoriam type thing uh, going on. And shaheeds,
That's a
like,
good question. That's a good question, though. I mean, you're saying it's like pro India, and we haven't seen that in our community in a while. With the influx of all these international students with different thoughts on religion
that's the thing
and our
though. It was the
community,
international
and
students
then
that held it down and said, why are you removing these pictures?
really,
It was,
but
it,
let's just say, do you think there's going to be a change in mentality in our community?
I think international students are holding it
No.
down for us, man.
And
Yeah.
going back to India now, like I can go to the streets of Delhi and I'll see Sanjay Nal Singh on the back of cars, like the
Picture.
The sticker.
the sticker.
Yeah, yeah.
And Boba Mon. I don't know if there's a correlation,
Saji.
but it's crazy, man. Like the conversation around Sanjay Nal Singh has really changed in India amongst non-Sikhs.
No, but let's say the ones that are coming here that are not
But I'm saying,
religious or
the internet's done a great thing for India. I mean, they get to see both sides of the story, right? So, I don't think it's an international student thing. I think there's an older generation that's somewhat is entrenched in their opinion on what happened in the 80s and 90s and whose fault it was. I mean, we saw that Shinda in Ottawa at the Ottawa Gurdwara. They also didn't have pictures of sheets there. I think it's changed now, but there's a
New
certain
committees have come
ideology and
in.
mindset.
New
Yeah,
committees
yeah.
come in. They're more accepted. At one point, like the old heads they change because now you have like
but
younger guys
that's
coming in saying,
younger
"Look, no, we
generation.
know our history. We want this being honored." And all of a sudden, they're outnumbering it, and you're able to come in and
But
no, I
do
100%.
you find the students are more, or the youth are more religious than our youth?
Not religious, but they'll have a sense of. It's not even across the board. Let's not say all international students come here with the same like Ethiopic level of understanding. But we're bringing
I'm
in.
just because I think for me, at least the way I look at it, you can call me the weekend, whatever Ranjit was saying, Sunday church guy. Religion activities and going to go are much less a part of my life, and I'm not saying that with any disrespect. It's just not, and that's a lot of my friends. So the next people carrying the community are probably not going to be us. It's going to be these international students. It's going to be that community living in the areas. Do you think they're going to change?
So
Not the narrative. Narrative's a bad word, but I mean, do you think it's going to look different?
So I don't think the international students coming in are any more religious or anti-religious than the kids growing up here. What I think is happening is we have small communities which people who were born here have migrated out of, that the students in the same population and same percentages of knowing the history and stuff are migrating into, that are keeping some of that history alive that was migrating, like that was leaving. And they're making these Gurdwara functional, and they're saying, look, we want the Gurdwara functional, and we do believe in Sikhi in this way, because this is where we've grown up, and this is how we've grown up on Sikhi, to the same degree that, you take a certain subsection of people who grew up here would, have the same sort of beliefs. Except the people here are leaving those small communities, whereas the students are moving in.
I just think I think just our generation is not as involved.
No,
Right,
look, these guys.
I'm not saying just from us. I'm just saying from a broad spectrum. Going to go, participating in the committees or even donating. Let's just put it from a donation standpoint. It would have been scary times if there was not this new population coming in, because people don't care. As long as they're getting as long as they're getting weddings,
all right.
and the weddings are making money.
Now understanding what you're saying, I think I just misunderstood you clearly. I think the level of Sharda and religiosity of like with the value of donating to a gurdwara and daswand and stuff, it's higher in international students coming in, because they're kind of coming in with that same degree that our parents carried forward and had. Whereas kids here are like, you know what, I don't agree with this setup, or I don't trust the committee, so I'm not donating to the committee, and moving away more to like opening up food banks and stuff like that.
Or they just don't go. I mean, that's not a part of their life. And
I mean, it's very few of us who are buying a car and going straight to the Gurdwara first before you go home, right?
To do it at Ardasa, for sure.
I still get yelled. I still get yelled at about that, by the way, to this day.
That's fucked up that you didn't do it. I
didn't do it.
Yeah, you're fucked up.
Why? God's everywhere.
No, you have to pay the party.
My bill is off.
You have to pay the party $100. You have to give him a hundi to do a quicker das, and then you take it home. Anyways, but like it's ingrained in their everyday life, right? These guys going to the Gurdwara.
Yeah.
For Purnamashi, for
just like it was for our parents,
for anything, for any good purpose. Yeah, exactly, right. So
I think it's a second life for a lot of these.
So they come here, they get to continue their lifestyle, and in some aspect, is still normal for them. Relates to what they did back home. So,
but it'll be interesting to see how their viewpoints are, and as they become the main community,
exactly
how they kind of remember when we were growing up. 84 was the event, and everything was around that, and a lot of that. I guess attraction, whatever you want to call it, it was that. Now this generation, they didn't really live through that. They've heard about it, they read about it, but we had parents who lived through it. So it's going to be interesting the way it changes.
All right,
we'll see.
Quickly moving to. Do we have a Bandit of the week this week? You guys want to nominate anyone or?
Nah.
Ranjit kind of just shits on on the haters.
Yeah, I'm gonna just the people who tried to drag Erim, whatever fucking.
There was one other individual.
So these are religious Monna, you're saying, right? Religious Monna.
Someone else got dragged recently. There was a girl who said she couldn't see herself not marrying a Sardar, and everyone jumped on her saying, but she said, I couldn't see myself not marrying a Singh. Everyone was like, well, you're a Monni. How are you able to? Why do you get to dictate? I thought that was such a backward.
Was it Monne being mad or other?
No, and that one, I don't know who was mad. Honestly,
Sardars are sending their DMs right away. Yo.
I saw it afterwards, and she's like, "I'm getting a lot of hate for this tweet," and I'm like, "Really? You're getting a hate?" I just didn't understand. I was so confused. Then I'm like, "I'm probably just old."
Are we petty? We're petty.
We're so petty, man.
We're petty.
So
our community is the Bandit of the week.
Yeah, I guess the community gets the petty ass community gets Bandit of the week.
I'm gonna say it's just Englandese, so yeah.
So Randy's like, it's not us, it's the England.
It's the Englandese, man. They're so bad. I love their Twitter spaces though. Please keep those going.
I had to stop going in them, man. They were so weird. They had the Gora Jat and all the fake different people, and I don't understand what they're saying half the time. They're just like, you slag. I'm like, what? Who's slag? What?
Having lived there, they get really mad.
They get really mad.
They're like a touchy.
How'd you like the weather? How'd you like the weather in the UK?
I was in Scotland. It rained every day.
That's what BC's like.
All right, man. You guys got anything you guys want to plug or say or?
Oh yeah. I want to plug in one thing.
He's plugging something.
He's typing it literally. He's plugging
hair plugs. Or are you plugging hair plugs? Because that would be great.
No. I'm just trying to get the title. 3 Houses by Colin Dillon. Check it out. Good book.
Oh yes.
Hold on.
I saw the Twitter. He must.
I know.
Damn,
this man had the book and he didn't even give him a shout out. Look at this.
There we go. I have it sitting here on my bookshelf. I haven't opened it. It's fresh. I'll open it one day. I'm a bad reader, man.
I'm assuming it's available on all platforms, is it?
It's on Amazon.
On Amazon.
Costco book?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's if it's on Amazon. Is it on Amazon? I think Amazon's going to be changing a lot in the next little while. We could talk about that more next week, but they're increasing their fees for sellers by 5%.
Hmm.
So talking about interest, that could be something we talk about later. We'll see. I've noticed the quality of product on Amazon's been going down lately. But this book is a high quality product still on Amazon. Check it out. Colin, I've known Colin for a while, so me and him are pretty decent friends. Check it out.
Awesome.
Great.
That's it. That's my plug. Later, guys.
Hair plugs. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.